Thank you, sir. Okay. I think we got everybody here. Good evening and welcome to the October 20th Scituate Conservation meeting. Before we get started, a couple quick things to read. This meeting is being held virtually as the alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. I hereby advise that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Scituate in accordance with the open meeting. And our commitment to inclusion, diversity, and equity. The Scituate Conservation Commission is committed to providing an environment of respect during our meetings. We ask all members who interact in a polite manner, even when there's disagreement. We value the participation of our community, and we want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcome and respected. We ask our committee members and all that participate to commit to these standards and to support and respect our community. Okay, all that said, a couple of quick ones to open the meeting. Actually, can we get, so for the agenda, just to let folks know that 0 Blossy Lane, 22 Barry's Landing, and 47 Rebecca Road will all be continued without discussion this evening. And if we have a couple of minutes at the end, I'd like to just report in on some activities at Appleton Field, and I think there was a discussion of 91 and Vinyl Road for fence in addition to what's already on the posted agenda. Have I got that right, Jen?
Yes.
Okay. So would someone like to make a motion to accept the agenda?
I make a motion, we accept the agenda.
It's Jen. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
That was Robbie?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor. We don't have Penny here this evening. Brendan?
Yes.
Eric is not here yet. Roger?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Great, thank you. Okay, I have to open. This is an RDA for 434 to 451 Hadley Road. On October 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws for request of a determination of applicability filed by the Town of Scituate for the installation of new utility poles along Hadley Road. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meetings available on the agenda posted on the website. And who do we have presenting this?
I believe we have Sean here from DPW.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, Chairman, members of the commission. We're helping the IT Mike Mancello department out this evening. But for the last few years, Mike has been installing fiber optic lines throughout the town, both for emergency communications as well as communications that we use for SCADA to operate a lot of our pump stations throughout town. When his utility contractor came to town to start the next phase, they realized there was about 600 feet of missing utility poles along Hadley Road in the Musquashkett Pond area that they could not hang their fiber optic lines on. So we're here before you tonight to propose the installation of 5 new utility poles on the same side of the street that they exist already. They just stop short and leave a gap to allow the fiber optic loop to be run. And what this does is allows redundancy. Right now, if a tree came down on Gannett Road, it would knock out communication with the Musquashkett Pond sewer pump station. With this in place and other places in town, it reroutes itself and it will loop back a different direction until it hits that same break in the line. So in the DPW terms, it'll assist the Musquashkett Pond Pump Station as well as the Sand Hills Pump Station on Hadley Road.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm assuming that these are just boring and setting individual poles, Sean?
Yes, right behind the guardrail, right tight to the street, as far out of the resource area as possible.
All right. Jen?
I thought there was a hand up. I didn't know if there was anything additional to add to the presentation.
Hey, Jen, no, this was Mike. I was just putting my hand up because I couldn't unmute myself, but Sean did a great job.
Okay. So yes, so utility work, I guess our big concern would be the how it's going in. So if all the work's being done from the road and we're as close to the road as we can, not going down the slope. I think the how they're installed is what we're trying to keep track of the most.
Yeah, most of those rigs are vehicle mounted that install utility poles like you see for the electric companies. So that drill rig will be mounted on the rear of a utility truck that will reach over the guardrail and drill right behind the guardrail for the pole. No further disturbance.
Anything else, Jim, before we move to members?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Jen Foley?
I don't think I have anything. Makes me wonder what missing utility poles that had me thinking, but I think I'm all set.
Brendan?
I have no questions.
Roger?
Just one question on this visual here. I see where the arrows are, the lines are going to the 5. Are those dots other dots? Is it just a total of 5 poles that are going in, or are those other dots representative as well?
No, just the 5. They're about 100 feet apart from each other, which was the recommendation by the utility company.
Okay.
And the last 2 poles or dots you see are existing poles.
Okay. So just looking for clarification. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
Robbie?
Hi, thanks for the presentation. It's clear and easy to understand. A couple of questions I had. The spoils from the drilling rig, are those going to be taken off-site or?
I know some of them will be put back in the hole in lifts to compact around the utility pole.
Mhm.
But we can certainly make that a condition when we are dealing with the utility contractor that they're removed from the site. Yep.
And then will these be town-owned or owned
I
by-
believe they will be. Yes.
And I don't know if they're, I guess, right-sized for the future too. So I don't know if there's any expansion in the future. The poles would.
So, Sean, I'll answer that. So we're getting as short as poles as possible, just to accommodate the fiber. If the utilities, the electric or phone or Comcast want to use the poles, they would have to go through the official permitting process and put their own poles in. We're keeping them as short as possible for a couple of reasons. One, just to aesthetics. 2, it's the overall weight of the pole. There's no need to have a 15-foot pole at the top above our fiber wire there for future use if we don't need it. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. Those are all the questions that I had.
Thank you.
We did discuss this last week at the select board meeting, just to make them aware of the situation. Usually the utility companies need their permission to do this because we don't own them. But we did make them aware at their last meeting that we would be doing this and told them we'd be before you this evening. They were good.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anybody in the audience? Okay. I hadn't thought much about it, that I go by there all the time, but now that you say it, it makes sense. It stops on either side. There's no houses to service. And so power either comes from
Right.
north or the south, but it didn't have to traverse that area. But it's interesting that you have that loop. Pretty cool. Well, I guess from an environmental standpoint, if the sewer treatment pumping system keeps working in a storm or issues, I think that's fairly critical to the environment around it. So makes sense.
Timing of this is sensitive right now because they currently have intermittent connectivity to the current sewer pump station with their current provider. So we're trying to rush to get this installed so they have better communications and visibility on that station.
Okay. And they do that by wire rather than satellite or anything.
That's correct. Yep. This particular location, the sewer pump station, I believe it was too low. It sits in a valley, and they couldn't get radio communications to it because it's a line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
Where some of most of the other pump stations have wireless radio to it.
Gotcha.
I mean, these pumps aren't going to fail without this communication. It seems like it would be a lot.
If a pump fails, right now there's no way for the main sewer treatment plant to get a notification that a pump failed.
Really?
Till somebody's.
Yeah, sounds like this is a timely project.
Okay. All right. All right. I think that's it. Can I have a motion for, what do we want, Jill? 3?
Yes.
We want to make up that motion. We don't have Penny here tonight.
I was ready.
Okay. Sorry.
I make
that.
a motion for a -3.
I'll take a second.
I will second that.
Brendan, all in favor. Roger,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. So Sean, you're back up again for the first cliff amendment. This is a continuation from our hearing on the 6th. You have a couple of folks from Clark maybe with you.
Yes. Yes, again, thank you for having us back. After receiving some comments at the last hearing, reviewing staging and access at the, I guess, northern end of First Cliff, it became apparent that they had some projects permitted and to be constructed in the very near future, as well as some other site constraints that currently exist. We removed any access or staging in that area from the plan set. And I can have Jeremy from Foth go into a little more detail. He worked on the drawings.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Jeremy Packard from Foth Infrastructure here on behalf of the town of Scituate. Carrie, we can't share plans on this, right? So, yeah, in coordination with that homeowner, we had reviewed the project that they have permitted, have authorized on their site, and really it was decided that there wasn't enough usable space there for us to really make it worth it. So what we ended up doing was just removing the construction staging and access area from the northern part of the project in that site at 196 Edward Foster Road entirely. So we took that off and then sent that back to the abutter and their legal team. They reviewed it. There was initially some discussion back and forth about the language in the notice of intent narrative. But then Jenna provided us with kind of a draft conditions of those narratives, which had no discussion of staging or access at 196 Edward Foster Road. And so with that, the abutter and their legal team agreed that they were good with the changes. We finalized, sent the plans to Jen. And so that's the only change that we've made since the last hearing, was just the removal of the staging and access from the northern site at 196 Edward Foster Road. And so I think all other concerns and questions were addressed at the last hearing, and we would respectfully request to close the hearing.
Okay, thank you. Jen Smith, you want to start here?
I don't have anything else to add. I would say if you're, you could close an issue if you wanted to do that.
Okay, did we break these apart? There were several ones. I guess we opened them individually and we voted to close the others, and we kept this one. We continued this one, right?
Right. We continued this one. The other two we closed, and they are on the agenda later for issuing conditions.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Brendan?
I do not have any questions.
Roger?
Nope, seemed pretty straightforward.
Robbie?
I think at the last hearing, we saw a plan that showed that laydown area. Is this the plan that replaces this? Okay.
Hold on. One more slide.
Okay, and this is where the rev cloud is? Oh. It's been
Yeah, the
removed.
rev cloud just shows the area removed.
Okay. No questions from me, thank you.
Do we have anybody in the audience?
I do not see any hands raised.
So maybe Jeremy or Sean. So removing that area, is there another provision to get this work done? Have you come up with that, or have you guys got
We have the southern staging area still, and the access that we have approved does allow us to navigate the shoreline for the entire stretch of the project. It may result in some additional time on the contract, for all that mobilization back and forth. But at this point, also as we move forward with the project, there may be opportunities for either the town or homeowners to kind of coordinate with some of the other abutters, and gain access through some of those properties, which we would only allow with the commission's authorization. But for right now, we have the southern staging area. We have access for the entire project site, and so that's what we need to go with.
All right. I'll take a motion.
Are we closing and issuing, or just closing?
Jen Smith?
You can close an issue.
Okay. I make a motion, we close and issue the First Cliff revetment project.
That's by Jen. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
By Brendan. All in favor? Roger?
Yes.
Robbie?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Okay, great. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And I just had a quick question. Should we stick around for the issuance for second and minor?
I don't think that you need to. Do we want to just, Jen, are you prepared to do that? Is there any?
I'm prepared for those to be issued. I don't have any questions about them.
Okay, want to just vote them?
Sure. Yeah.
Take a motion to issue the orders for, can we lump them together?
Well, they're a little bit, sure. Second Cliff,
First-
Minot Beach, and First Cliff.
Yep. Take a motion to issue the orders for those three.
I
Right.
make a motion, we issue the orders for Second Cliff, First Cliff, and Minot Beach.
That's from Jen. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Brendan, all in favor? Roger?
Yes.
Robbie?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. How's that?
That'll do. Thank you. Have a good night.
You have a great
Thank
night.
you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay. Zero Bailey's Island. This has been continued for a month or so. And who do we have for that team?
We have Brendan Sullivan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Brendan Sullivan with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors, here representing the owner and applicant, Kathleen Creel, the owner of what's known as Zero Bailey's Island. Um, so I know it's been a while, we've been continued a few times. We've been going through the a couple review letters from Lucas Environmental. But just to go over the site, it's a vacant parcel of land up on Bailey's Island. There is a existing tennis court on the site. The site was created from a subdivision from an adjacent lot. That there was a house standing, and it's being reconstructed now to the, let's see, north is to the left to right. So due to the top of the page is due west. That's where the proposed. There's a newer house being reconstructed up there that's on a separate piece of property. But this lot was subdivided from that piece originally. Um, we're dealing with Salt Marsh, BVW, Coastal Bank, land subject to coastal storm flowage, which is AE elevation 14, which encompasses a good amount of the property. Um, there is Limwa located just off site from what you see. It's out in the Salt Marsh area. So none of the Limwa does encompass any of the area you see here. Um, through Board of Health, we performed some perk tests out there, soil evaluations, determined groundwater, got some perk results, designed a septic system, and proposing a 30 by 60 three-bedroom single-family home with a garage, an attached garage. Um, the septic design is in Board of Health review right now. We've been through a round of comments with them. They do have a set of revisions. We responded to them few weeks ago. Um, we did provide some transects. Those are the straight red lines you see from the it's called the coast to the upland area, which is up in the middle. The the orange, I'd say the lighter orange line around it, that's the AE 14. It kind of goes around like where lot 4 is labeled the 76,000 square feet plus or minus. Um, that's the elevation, the floodplain, elevation 14. So we did 6 transects in total, um, and to identify the coastal bank. For the most part, um, figures 2 and 3 were used to delineate the coastal bank. Um, at the top of the page, kind of near where the tennis court is, we have the end of coastal bank. It kind of takes a corner up there. In that area where there may be some coastal bank identified on the upper portion of transect number 6, but we don't believe it's significant to the act because it really doesn't. There's a you know there is a um, 60 by 120 foot square foot 60 by 120 foot tennis court between the bank and what would be the coast. So we don't believe it provides sediment to the barrier beach or the dune below. Not that there is any below that, but um, so that's why we have the coastal bank ending at that point. Um, we do have the letter from Lucas Environmental, the latest one dated October 7th. They have a couple more additional comments in there. We haven't responded to those of yet. I just wanted to get the project in front of you guys and see what your comments were and maybe try and um, coordinate all everybody's comments all in one response and get back to the commission and Lucas Environmental. With that, I'll take comments or questions.
Thank you. Jen Smith?
Yes, correct what he said. They're working with Board of Health, and I do think they had several questions they were wanting to have answered. Devin from Lucas Environmental is on the call also, if we would like to hear from her about her comments on this site. I can unmute her.
I think that would be helpful.
All right.
Good evening, commission members. Can you all hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Great. It's nice to see you all. I know it's been quite some time since I've actually been on one of these hearings for you. Yeah, I guess more or less we just have some, it seems like Brendan kind of has a handle on it where we do have some outstanding comments, and more or less, I guess I'm here for any questions that you have related to the 6 or 7 comments that are outstanding. I guess mainly our focus is, obviously a further evaluation on the coastal bank, and it's, we want to make sure that as you're approving a notice of intent that the resource areas are correctly identified in accordance with the coastal zone management policy 92-1. And then obviously we just had some comments and questions related to tree removal, proximity with regards to the gravel drive, related to the septic, and then whatever else we kind of lumped into our comment letter. And I'd be again happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. But more or less, I'm just here for support.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Frank, can I just add that one of our concerns was the ledge at the site and what the plan is. What might need to be done with it? Will it be in the way of the project? How will it be dealt with?
Okay. Brendan, you want to comment on that?
Sure. We don't have any ledge identified on the plan, and we can certainly locate those. Most of the ledge is in the upper portion of the property, like actually above 14. There are some ledge outcrops below that. There is some ledge. We did a couple test pits in the tennis court itself, where we hit ledge 2 or 3 feet down. But and where the house is going in the tennis court, the first floor is about elevation 15, where the tennis court lies at about elevation 10. With it being a floodplain, there can't be a basement, so we can't go there's no sense in going any deeper than that, other than, digging down and pinning into the existing ledge. There's no sense in, blasting out a basement there. The only place it would be maybe some chipping or something would maybe be for the garage. Like where the garage footprint is, where the highest point is about elevation, say 13. Our garage slabs at elevation 11.5. So you only talk about chipping down about 2 or 3 feet of ledge to get that out. So I don't see any blasting, occurring here. I mean, I know they're blasting on the site, to the west of us. But for this project, and we can't blast for the septic system at all. So, I don't see any true blasting here. Maybe just some chipping of some of the ledge that'll all be needed, which would just be, maybe a couple days of chipping, if that.
Okay. Let's see. Let me start with Brendan.
Yeah, I'm going to have nothing to add at this point.
Okay. Roger.
No questions or comments.
Robbie.
When was this opened?
I think it was September 8th.
Okay. I'm just going through the peer review comment.
I think it was opened and continued right away. We haven't had any real discussion on this project lately at all. Nothing to really remember because we didn't talk about it.
Okay. One of the responses had to do with the mitigation planting. Is that shown on the plan?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So where the proposed house is, that boxed area that you see around it is the tennis court. So we're taking up approximately 2,700 square feet of impervious tennis court, and putting some salt tolerant grass in there, as part of the mitigation. There's an overall decrease in impervious in the site. because of the removal of that area of the tennis court.
Okay, thank you.
Jen? Foley?
Yeah, I think I'm all set on this one. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience?
I don't see any hands raised.
All right, I've got a couple of questions, maybe a combination of Brendan and Devin. So I get it that there was a tennis court here, and the condition of that was the asphalt and whatnot was sufficient to be able to call it an impervious area. It seemed like it had kind of deteriorated.
Oh yeah, I mean it hasn't been maintained or played on in quite some years, but it's still a paved tennis court. You know, I mean, there's some grass thrown up between the cracks and stuff, but there's still pavement out there. I mean, like I said, we did a couple test pits out there that maybe, of course, those areas that disturbed, vacant of asphalt, but that was for part of the permitting process. So, I mean, did you go out there and walk it, Frank?
I didn't walk it with the group, but I'm
Okay.
familiar with the site. So you're going to remove the asphalt. And do we know what's underneath that asphalt? Like what else is coming out?
So there's about a, say 10 or 12-inch gravel base. And then it goes into some, maybe some, virgin material that's there. And then that, like I said, it goes pretty quickly into ledge. We'll take up the asphalt, obviously, take up some of the material and put down some, a decent amount of loam that will support the grass seed mix for the mitigation.
Is there any cross section or any detail for that?
I don't think I have one. I could certainly come up with one for the, for the mitigation and for the lawn area. I did allow some area, up against the house for some, 'cause that we could, put some posts out there and make that like a no mow area type of thing, and then just make the grass, adjacent to the house, in like I think it's like maybe 20 feet to the north and 10 or 15 feet on the westerly side. The rest of it will be like either landscaped or like a mowable lawn. The salt tolerant, the mitigation area we can leave as like a no mow area or maybe like a seasonal mow type of thing like that.
So where the brown crosshatch is, that's going to be the salt tolerant. And then the area that's just white between that and the house, that's going to be regular grass or
Yeah, I mean, obviously probably wouldn't leave the remains of the tennis court there, but we'll probably take the tennis court up and put down either like some, landscape beds or some lawn area there.
so the whole tennis court is going to get removed. Is that
Yes.
correct? All of it's going to be stripped and all that asphalt's going to be hauled away.
Yes.
And then some of the gravel or whatever, so to give you sufficient area to put enough loamy material to grow either both the salt tolerant grass or plantings. But there's no planting plan right now at all on this project.
No, other than mitigation, other than the mitigation, we didn't get too detailed into a landscape plan at this point.
So what you're saying is the mitigation for this project is essentially the removal of that court and the planting of the salt tolerant grasses in the area that's designated.
Right. I mean, you probably could call maybe some of the other mitigation because, like I said, we are removing it, but we're putting back a lawn. Want to have some sort of a lawn area there. But that suppose you could call that as some sort of mitigation. I know mitigation you like to see as like a seasonal mow or like a no mow area. Let it just go back kind of into its natural state.
Right. Or some mowing plan that would enhance, some habitat.
Right. Yep.
Not that it has to all grow to weeds or grow up, but if the idea is that removing that tennis court and then making it, I guess, more natural again, it would be good to know that. Was there any thought of any replacement of the trees? It looks like there's couple of large trees in the septic area and a couple more in the driveway.
Yeah, there's about 6 trees there we're removing, the decent size between 16 and, there's a 6-inch, 18, and 22,
Right.
16-inch twin. Well, we didn't propose any trees. We would certainly be more than happy to, whether we propose them, up near the septic system, not on the system, but adjacent to it, or we could propose them down along the outskirts of that mitigation, the seed mix area.
Mhm.
And also, of course, there's a perimeter fence around the tennis court as well. That will be obviously coming down as well.
Thank you. I think that's it for me.
For your tree replacements, do you like a 2-to-1 or 1-to-1, or what do you typically like to see?
Any as we can get.
6-to-1?
Yeah. No. I mean, I think, there's, like I say, 4 or 5 pretty substantial trees coming down. It would be good to see a mix of trees. I'm sure they want to maintain some views, but sometimes it's nice to have some trees planted in between there. You make the choices or give us a simple plan of what you're choosing out there. And then maybe a little more detail of the removal and revegetation would be a good thing to have.
Can we give them a little bit more detail on the quantity? I think.
Sure.
1-to-1 or.
I mean, I'd like to see 1-to-1, but then maybe in addition to that, some shrubs or vegetation that would promote decent habitat. Who did your wetlands?
Who did the wetlands? Oh, I'm sorry, Brad Holmes.
Well, Brad's usually pretty good at
Yeah.
pulling together a mitigation plan. He can look at the existing vegetation and think about what would be decent habitat in some of those areas. I don't know if you're fighting Phragmites. I can't remember being out there if I saw much for frags.
Yeah, they're a little bit lower. They're not up near, not in that area there.
Okay. But I think if you could put something like that, fairly simple, and give us a decent. If there was a mix of trees and some other vegetation, I think 1-to-1 along with the other vegetation would, in my mind. But I don't know, glad to hear from Devin or any other commission members.
Devin speaking. Yes, Mr. Chair, I believe that a 1-to-1 ratio is appropriate for the 6 trees that'll be removed. I feel as though that's adequate. So as long as they're, good caliber, no less than 2-inch caliber, for sure.
Okay. That and like I say, maybe a little bit more, just kind of habitat, shrubbery or plantings that would kind of promote some of that. So for conservation posts, I mean, would you want to put some along the lines of the former, with the salt marshes? Is like a 50-foot buffer? I don't know, where are we thinking that might be appropriate?
I would protect that area that they're going to mitigate completely. I'd like to see that, no annual mow is fine. But definitely should be demarcated so that way, as they're mowing the lawn that's actually proposed around the perimeter of the home, they don't encroach into that area at all. I don't know if they want to put a post with a sign every like 15, 20 feet. Usually we'd see that. So you'd have, I don't know, like 5 or 6 of them around that area.
Mm-hmm.
Is this private property?
This is private property, yep, but
You
that
put no
area
mow
is
signs
going to
on.
be restored.
Okay.
So you'd want to protect that, and you're approving the project. If you do, you want to make sure that that area stays as native and unmaintained as lawn as you can.
So we could communicate that to the property owner without having to install signs on their property, though.
Correct.
But sometimes what they do is rather than have some big post with a big sign, it's a very simple, small thing that's close to the ground. Basically, it's for the landscapers to maintain that area. They don't.
Yep, it's whatever the commission prefers, of course.
Just like a second way to, if they, let's just say that, and again, we're not designing it for them, but if they had proposed like a row of vegetation other than the grass, separating that, which we often see. But they're not doing that. So their grass is going right from ornamental grass lawn into the salt marsh grass. And somebody that's out there with a mower keeps creeping into that. So it's good to have some sort of demarcation.
So then I think the suggestion to plant the trees in that area would achieve that purpose, right? Or the shrubs that you're describing.
That's a possibility.
So I think we're asking for some kind of delineation between the two areas to avoid regular mowing of the salt tolerant species, etc.
Yep.
Got it.
And again, it doesn't have to be a 3-foot post sticking out of the ground with a big sign on it. A lot of these are just small things that are down low that just denote that.
Right.
So I think it would be nice for them to come back with a little bit more of a plan to show the trees and show the show some additional vegetation planted, and think about how they want to do that. To me, that would make the most sense.
Frank, can I ask a couple more questions? I don't know if we've gone through
Please.
everybody or not.
Yep.
Well, I did want to ask, how far does the property line go out into the marsh? I know it goes past the tennis court, but they do own into the salt marsh. Is their ownership off-site from the site map, I mean?
Yeah, it goes down to mean low water, which is so it's so that there's that black we call phantom line there, the edge of salt marsh, the record land court plan. So there's that demarcation. They go that's that's probably about mean high water. They own to mean low water out there. So so the property line it's well into the salt marsh.
So okay, so they own well past the tennis court. So they okay,
Yeah.
just because what ends up happening is later down the road I get questions about fences and other
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So
Oh,
okay.
yeah, so I'm sorry. So it would so the and I always think the north is at the top of the page, it's not, it's due west. But so at the top of the page, that is a property line there with the bearing and distance to 267.39. So that is a property
Right.
line right there. So
Yep.
that demarks this lot from the other lot. Obviously to the right of that is where it goes down to mean low water, but to the north of that, so all that blue line to the top is on adjacent property.
Okay. And
So
then it cuts back down. So the property line then comes back down and then goes over to the gravel
Yes.
driveway.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why it's kind of a solid break there between the fence. But the tennis court, the fence, and everything is on our locust property.
Okay. And do you think they're going to want to add any walkways or patios or paths or just any of that other info to put on here? So while we're calculating
I can
impervious
get
and
together with the owner and see if they want to propose any small patio out there, or maybe it's just be a lawn area. We can put some chairs to enjoy the views out there. But yeah, we'll get together and get a more robust landscape plan for you. Sounds like what you're looking for.
um okay. And then I mean my other questions were about just some calculations of I didn't see it on here. It might be if I missed it, but how much upland is on the lot And then what's the total area of disturbance? I see that you have it for the broken out for the 50 and the 100. Um, it would just be good to have
Yeah,
the
the,
total
so
when we're working on other paperwork.
yeah, so that's the impervious decrease on the site actually. 'Cause we had decrease in the impervious by over 4,000 square feet, but the
Hmm.
total disturbance um, is approximately 15,000 square feet. It's kind of that red line, it's that thin red line that goes around the property, and around the silt sock, and then on the higher side up towards the floodplain line. So I think that's about 15,000 square feet is total disturbance.
Hmm.
And I can get the upland area for you. So the upland area is, it's the 76,000 I believe is from the land court, which doesn't take into account the salt marsh. So I can get that upland area for you.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody have anything else they'd like to ask or see?
I
So
did
do
want
we,
to bring it to the commission's attention just on the October 7th, 2025 letter, which it appears Brendan and his team will be addressing number 17 towards the end. We do just want to, make sure that there is some discussion on how the commission would like to see the gravel driveway in post-construction conditions. It's obviously our understanding that Two Bailey's Island is currently undergoing construction. I don't know what the restoration plan is for the driveway, but obviously that tracks into, the buffer zone and eventually into resource areas, et cetera. So more or less, we kind of left that comment open-ended for you to discuss.
I mean, for our plan was really just that we know we have to maintain access for them because that's their only access to the property. They have a
Mm-hmm.
right of way over our property to get to their up there. So, we're gonna obviously maintain their access and, pretty much just probably, any disturbance to the gravel driveway will be put back, as it is today. Hopefully, hopefully a little bit better. There are some potholes and stuff out there that get developed as they commonly do from your typical gravel driveway, but we're pretty much looking to put back, what's there today.
Okay, so more or less that would just be in-kind replacement of the gravel driveway then, is how you would.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you for clarifying.
No problem.
Brendan, is that like cobble edging or what is those small lines that are denoted sort of as you come out the right of way?
So that's a silt sock either side of the gravel
Oh,
driveway.
all right.
That was one of the comments from Devin is to just to maintain once again because it'll be, you know, like I said, they're already constructing, up on number two Bailey's Island. So there's just the construction trucks in and out of there kind of, pick up the dirt and do a little bit more, I say harm to the gravel driveway than your typical traffic would. So we just denoted silt sock on either side of the gravel driveway. And we have a proposed stockpile area, right in the area right before the septic on the right-hand side. Um, so that's just a hay bale silt fence area to, help in any runoff before it, gets out towards the wetlands.
So that that sill sock that there's now is being maintained by number two.
Um, I don't think there's a silt sock there now. That's proposed.
Oh, okay.
I believe they have a silt sock once you get onto their property. They probably have a silt sock, I'm assuming, up
Okay.
around their property.
All right.
But I don't
Okay.
think there's any down on this site down below. So
And
that would be
I've been there, so I'm trying to visualize it. But so when you're accessing number two, you're driving right by the corner of the proposed septic system.
yes, that is correct. Yep.
Anything else, Devin?
I think the only other comment that wasn't addressed in this discussion was just, it kind of dovetails off of what you were just saying, the close proximity of the septic system to the gravel driveway. Obviously you're within inches if you guys have been out there. It's obviously just a concern. More or less, we just made a comment to see some sort of protection, demarcation, etc. Um, you don't want, you just want that to be sensitive to that area. So,
Yeah, we can try cutting that grade down a little bit on that corner because that corner comes
yeah,
close to where we're trying to stay out of the easement, obviously, and and keeping the lines and grades of the existing gravel driveway the same because once again we have to maintain access to the lot beyond us. So we could try to do something to break up that grade a little bit. Maybe instead of a 3-to-1 slope, maybe go a small 2-to-1 slope or something and cut it back a little bit with a steeper slope on that corner.
sure. Yeah. And when I was out there in July, and again, more recently, there was a silt sock that was out there up against where I think where you did some test pits where the septic system is going. So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if Two Baileys is maintaining that or what's going on there, but I just wanted to put that on the record as well. But I think that's it for me, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So what do you think? Do we want to continue this? How long will it take to put together that rest of that information?
Where are we? We're the 20th.
Yeah.
When's your next meeting? The 3rd or the 10th?
Jen or Josh?
The next one is it
The next
November 5th?
availables, no, that one is full.
Okay.
So we're continuing things to the 17th. And when do you go to the Board of Health next?
They have our comments. I haven't heard back from them. I don't know if it requires a meeting or not. I got to follow up with her, but um, I can certainly find out. But I mean, maybe if you could bump us to the 17th, and if we need to go further, we can, but at least get us on the agenda. If that makes sense.
I'm okay. Jen, if you and Josh think you can do that.
Yes, so we would really need to have everything, I mean, more than a week out. That way we have a chance to have it reviewed as well. So at some point in the week of the 3rd or early in that week.
Yep. I'll
Okay,
try and get it to you before Halloween. How's that?
great.
Scary. Uh-huh. Okay. So we're going to continue this to the 17th? Is that what we said?
Yes.
Okay. The motion for that? Don't everybody jump at once. Is Jen still with us or did she have to?
I don't see her on the list.
Okay. We don't have Penny, so you guys are going to have to be way more assertive here.
I'll make a motion to continue Zero Bailey's Island Road until what's the date?
November
No-
17th?
November
Yes.
17th.
Okay, that was Robbie. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
That's from Brendan. All in favor? Do we have Eric on yet?
No, I don't
Okay.
see him.
So all in favor, Roger
Yes.
and Frank, yes. So we're holding a quorum on anybody hiccup, all right?
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Just maybe make sure Penny's not here for the 17th meeting as well, and that'd be great.
No guarantees, but
He'll definitely be there now.
yeah. Just get ready. All right. So we have
Thank
to
you.
do it. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Thanks.
You too.
Thank you. Have a good night, commissioners.
Thanks, Devin.
Thank you.
So Zero Bossy Lane, we want to continue that to when, Jen?
The 17th.
Okay. Got a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue Zero Bossy Lane to November 17th.
Okay, that's from Brendan, a second.
I'll second that.
Robbie, all in favor. Roger?
Yes.
Frank, yes. Thank you. 22 Barry's
Hey,
Landing.
hey, there's a hand up. I don't know if anybody.
Leo McDonough.
Do we want to get through our hearings and then we can
Oh, that's, yeah, we're gonna finish up these ones first, right?
Okay, I didn't know if it was associated with.
I think this has to do with, Salt Meadow Lane, right, Jen?
That's my assumption, but I don't know.
22 Barry's Landing.
They also continue, they're going back to want to close with the North River first, so continuing to November 17th.
Okay.
I make a motion to continue. Should I continue?
Yep.
22 Barry's Lane. 22 Barry's Landing to November 17th.
Motion by Brett. Who seconded that? I'm sorry.
Robbie.
Robbie. All in favor, Roger?
Yes.
Frank, yes. Okay, thank you. 47 Rebecca Road. When do they want to continue to?
November 17th.
Oh boy.
We're yes.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I'm going to make that meeting. So, all right, can you get a motion on that one?
I make a motion to continue 47 Rebecca Road to November 17th.
A second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, Roger?
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great, thank you. Okay. We're on to 46 Atlantic Drive. And we've already opened that, right?
Yes, we did not discuss it. So we have Michael here from Grady Consulting. I've unmuted you.
Yes. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Good evening, guys. My name is Michael DiBenedetto. I represent Grady Consulting and the client James and Nancy Jo Benelli for 46 Atlantic Drive in Humrock. The proposed project is located within a barrier beach flood zone, velocity 15, and land subject to coastal storm floodage. It is in the buffer zone of a coastal bank and a coastal beach. The applicant proposed project is a raise and rebuild, retaining the existing vertical concrete walls of the foundation and patio, and removing the concrete slab patio. The project proposes a silt sock erosion control barrier to mitigate erosion and sedimentation of the resource area during the construction. Leave it open to the board for questions and concerns.
Jen?
I think this has filed with zoning and been through them, and maybe had a couple questions with the Board of Health.
We didn't receive any questions from the Board of Health. It did go through zoning and closed with zoning last Thursday.
Okay. There weren't any comments from DEP. Resource areas are as described. Going up on piles is great to see. The site had a fairly large patio, so all of that is coming out. We did have some questions about the vertical walls being, I guess I'm calling them the couple of the walls that are perpendicular to the beach that are being proposed to be kept. Maybe you can, I know you provided some comments, but maybe explain those being kept, please.
Sure, of course. On the rest of the Atlantic Drive going down towards the west, I believe. This is, yeah. All of these houses have retained their existing foundation and any kind of vertical concrete walls that were existing when these were seasonal homes. And their thinking was to protect the existing seawall that is protecting the entire continuous part of the road, as well as any kind of erosion control mitigation from their road being flooded out, or just trying to keep things to original conditions to how they were. The reason is it just adds extra protection. Any of these, and by the way, I answered in a comment or I responded to the comments Jen Smith sent me by email and clarified that any part of vertical or any vertical concrete wall, the foundation, or where the concrete slabs are held up to would be removed and not connected to any of the piles or postings. So they would be removed all the way down and wouldn't be sitting on any of that. So any area where it's close, they're going to make a judgment to remove it and just retain any kind of wall where it makes sense to try to help with erosion control. The main reason we don't want to remove these walls is we want to try to protect the existing sea coastal bank, and we think that the removal of them is actually going to undermine it and start erosion on the other side. So we're trying to keep things as existing in the C2 for the soil as possible.
Okay, and then my other question was about the proposed enclosure underneath.
Mm-hmm. The existing grade that is around the house is elevation 14, done by a feature line from ground survey that was collected earlier this year, and we're planning on maintaining that elevation for the enclosure of of 14 to give them space between the finished floor of the proposed building. So there won't be any change from existing grade that's around the house existing to what this small enclosure is going to be.
Was that the question? I thought the question was the surface material. It's the elevation. In the comment, what is the proposed ground surface under the dwelling? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh yes, the proposed surface for the enclosure would be concrete, and the rest would be natural surface.
Thank you.
Frank, that's all I have for now.
Okay. Let's start with Brendan.
Okay, so the concrete slab in the enclosure is not currently existing, is it?
That's correct. It doesn't currently exist.
Okay. I mean, are we kind of not good with that, right? I mean, I'm not having a slab there, so
What are we describing the enclosure as? Is it everything that the dwelling in is covering here? Is that what we're saying it is? What's the enclosure?
Can you explain the enclosure better?
Sure. The enclosure is a concrete slab that is just to hold in where the bottom steps would go in. The walls would be compliant to be breakaway or to have vents to whatever made sense. And it's just to hold the existing stairway out, kind of a mid area between where you'd park your car and where you'd walk up into the building. So currently it is impervious, and so it wouldn't be introducing any additional impervious.
What are the dimensions of it approximately?
Sure, I can get that for you. If you just give me a moment. So it would be 216 square feet. And 1 second, have the drawing up at the same time. It's a 12-foot by 16 feet. 12-foot by 16-foot enclosure. That's 216 square feet.
Thank you.
I'll have no further questions.
Okay. Robbie?
So the remaining area that is not the concrete for the enclosure, what is the surface area proposed to be?
as in under the house or under the proposed deck?
I guess both.
Okay, 1 second. Just give me a moment. Under the house would be, let me see if I'm just reading that correctly. Yes, 1,320 square feet. And under the deck, which I did not have as a straight out calculation, since that would be
I
pervious area.
apologize. I'm talking materials, not so much area.
Oh, okay. The
Sorry.
materials that is besides the enclosure is going to be natural sand, gravel, what's already existing there. It'll be brought back to a budding grade for what the abutter's property is and what is the existing elevation around the concrete structure, which is 14.
Thank you.
Roger?
No additional questions.
Do we have anybody in the audience for this one?
Julie Johnson has her hands raised. I think she's on the team for this project.
Okay.
I'm unmuting you.
Thank you, Jen. This is Julie Johnson. I'm the residential designer on the project. Can you hear me okay?
We got you. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thanks, Mike. I just wanted to jump on some of what Mike said as well. That enclosure under the house is really, we're having a lot of problems down in those areas where in the winter, it's not so much the overwash in the water, but sometimes it's just that cold wind that catches those down drops of sewer lines, water lines, and such that have to come down from that insulated floor, pass through the open air, and into the ground. All the heat tape in the world doesn't help those sometimes. So we wanted to create a space that we could protect it. Whether they have flood vents or not, we'll accommodate that. And what the surface of that ground is, it doesn't need to be a concrete slab. It can be the grade with maybe a deck surface that gets us onto those stairs safely and comfortably. But we really need an enclosure to help with that utility drop. And to give, this is their only home now. It's not a summer residence, it's a year-round home for them. So we want to make sure that they've got a safe way to get in and out of the house during weeks like we just had last week. So that's the enclosure question. And then those perpendicular walls, if you look at some of the images in the application, there are some really good photographs that show that those vertical walls that are perpendicular to the seawall are at the same height. So they're at grade, they're flush with grade, with natural grade. So they're really acting as a battering protection against that vertical seawall. So anything we can use engineering wise up against that is really going to be helpful. And you can see it as you look down the coastline. Probably the next dozen houses on Atlantic Drive have all either maintained the old foundation from the original homes or something that goes perpendicular to them. And it really does help in an active storm. So I don't, they're not protruding up above the surface of the natural grade. So I think they're important to consider in saving that seawall and protecting it. That's all I have.
Thank you for the context.
Do we have anybody else?
Well, as far as hands raised, I do see Mr. McDonough's hands raised. I mean,
You
don't
want
know
to
if-
ask him if he has
Yeah.
a comment on this project?
yes. All right, Leo McDonough, I'm unmuting you. Do you have a comment on this project? You might need to unmute on your end. Okay, I'm not I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, well, we'll keep going the moment if he can connect.
Hello, Commission.
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Yeah, Leah McDonough, 16 Salt Meadow Lane. I had a question about the previous project. But that was the one project you didn't ask the public to comment on.
Oh, I think we did.
Nope.
Which
The Zero Bailey's Island.
I think we did ask for public comment.
No, sir.
I know I did.
Okay. Well, maybe I missed it. I didn't walk away.
Well,
late. Can I address that, or should we do it later?
Well, we continued the hearing, so there is that opportunity, Mr. If you have a specific comment, maybe what I would suggest is send a letter or an email to Jen or Josh, if you would. With regard to that, I think that would be helpful.
All right, very good.
Thank you. Then we did continue that hearing until to the 17th of November.
Right, I saw that. Okay.
So I apologize if somehow we missed you in this thing, but I'm pretty good, or pretty confident that I asked that question in some fashion there.
Well, I was waiting. All right, thank you. I'll stand by for my other questions. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. All right. Do we have anybody else for 46 Atlantic?
I don't see any other hands raised.
So I got a few questions, and maybe whoever. Well, look, I'm looking at this existing seawall to be retained, and I thought that it said that these walls were sort of flush with the ground, but I'm seeing a spot elevation of 10 on one side and 15 on the other. So that creates a wall. Am I missing something?
I believe, are you talking about the area that is on the coastal beach side, where that would be the seawall? So yes, there is a that is acting as a coastal bank right there, seawall, and there's no proposed change to that.
And that wall continues north and then turns in, and that's being retained as well?
That's correct.
And then going in the other direction, that is connected to someone else's wall?
Yes, we're showing the connection of somebody else's wall or seawall, and it continues all the way down Atlantic Drive on the beach side, or for a good portion of it.
And is there anything between this house and the ocean? I'm looking at the locus, and I can't tell if it's in the middle or if this house sits directly on the ocean.
It sits on the ocean, so the Atlantic Ocean and the beach, the coastal dune area, goes off until the actual water.
Let's see.
The top of wall at that X15.0, that is the same as top of wall elevation, and the same with the 14.8, the top of wall is. So the existing patio and the existing sand and gravel that's in this area that isn't around where the patio is, that's all meeting right up to the seawall existing. So we're not proposing to change anything there, since it is supporting the seawall.
So is there any concrete structure being removed? I see one small area, one vertical wall has an arrow going to it, but all the rest of these are going to remain?
Yes, it's the, as Jen Smith has brought up an image from, looks like GIS, and it can show the concrete slab that's going around the house. We're proposing to remove all of that concrete slab, as well as everything up into the foundation. Anything on the inside of the foundation will be removed, will be raised, and then the house piles will be built off in areas where the vertical concrete wall doesn't already exist. But as you can see in that image, you can see that the sand and gravel meet right up to the seawall. And so we'd like to maintain that same kind of protection after the concrete patio is removed and brought to a more pervious state.
I guess my understanding in Humrock is a barrier beach in most of these cases that we're trying to eliminate structure. And I get your clients concerned about protecting their property. I'm just wondering how do we know anything about this concrete wall? It's construction or depth or size or anything?
I can't speak to the construction of the seawall. It was, I believe, these additions of these perpendicular walls were done 20 or so years, maybe 30 or so years ago. If I'm thinking back to when I was looking at the development of the property, but the seawall has been existing from before then. I can't speak to this point to when it was built or what its construction is.
Okay. I mean, I guess I understand all the things they're trying to do. And when you build these houses, quite honestly, if they're going to be used year round, some sort of protected entrance is helpful. Like what you're proposing here. Just maybe there's another solution other than a concrete slab. But I do understand that you're parking underneath there, the wind's blowing, trying to get up to your house, not slide off the stairs, and to protect some of the utilities. If there's a way to do that that's compliant. I guess the tough one is some of these seawalls.
We are planning on removing the concrete slab patio and to not restrict any kind of flowage. Storm flowage is going to come in. So we're going to allow the water to flow into this area and flow back out. We're not going to be impeding it by making small areas. This is going to have enough open area here where water can flow in and out. It's really just for general protection of the seawall that's existing.
Jen, did we get any comment on this DEP or anything else?
I would like to get a comment from building because this is in a velocity zone. So I'm not sure that any enclosures can happen. But I do understand that, protecting your utilities is something that everybody wants. The only, I got the comment that it closed and was approved by zoning, but I don't have any information from building as far as having an enclosure in the velocity zone in a dune.
I'm not sure that we've only got 4 members on tonight. We're ready to close on this. I'd like to visit that site, and I apologize for not being there before. But why don't we see if we can get some input from Bob or from the building department on the enclosure, what could work, and
we do have a note in the architectural plans that none of these enclosures are going to be panels that are fixed, and they will be FEMA compliant for breakaways. So as far as when stormage comes in there for velocity zone, they will be able to, they won't be impeding anything as barriers. It's really just the slab as the base. And we are open to to an order that this is not made of concrete. It could be decking instead. So it doesn't seem like there would be anything for the storm being actually impeded if they're going to break away.
Anybody want to make any kind of a motion here or? Jen, what do you think? Are you ready to close this?
It would be good to get a bit more information, just to, like I said, the only comment I got was that it closed with zoning. I didn't get a comment from the building perspective. I mean, and I would be okay with this going to the next meeting on November 5th, and then, I can have some draft orders together, but just in case anything needs to change or we need extra information submitted, I'd like to make sure we get our questions answered.
And Frank, you said you wanted to visit the site, so.
Yeah, I think it would be good to, and I apologize for not doing that sooner, but just in looking at this evening. And we'll try to get back to the applicant as quickly as we can if we find anything else that needs to get addressed.
I guess I'll propose to continue 46 Atlantic Drive until November 5th.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, Roger?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Great, thank you.
Thank you, commission members.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jen, you want to go through some of the administrative items? Oh, we got Eric on.
All right, hold on. Let me, I just saw him. All right, making him a co-host. And so you can unmute now.
Sorry, everyone.
Welcome.
Evening.
A little late to the party.
Well, you're here.
Good evening.
I do think there's at least one person here to talk about this tide reader that is being proposed to put at Driftway Park. If you'd like to hear a bit more about that, I will unmute Alex Mansfield.
Sure.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And thanks for having us tonight. Also with me is Levi Gorel from Woods Hole Oceanographic. And I apologize. I have been thinking this was an in-person, and I had prepared some handouts. So Jen sent you within the past hour presentation. If you
oh, maybe. All right, hold on.
Share that, or I can share my screen if you.
Okay.
It's short.
I have it.
Thank you. While Jen's pulling that up, I'll just introduce both of us. I'm Alex Mansfield. I'm the watershed ecologist for North-South Rivers Watershed Association and the South Shore coordinator for the Mass Bays National Estuaries Program. I've been in this position for about 2 years. I haven't had a chance to meet you folks yet. You probably remember Sarah Grady being in this role for a long time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, apologize for not introducing myself
Sure.
sooner. I think I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary next week. Levi is with Woods Hole. He designed these systems, and we don't have Sarah Doss with us. She's also with Woods Hole, but I listed her on this presentation because she's a Scituate resident who works for Woods Hole. I'll jump ahead sort of to the point, and then there's just some information on this presentation. The point is that Woods Hole has developed this new low-cost system for measuring very accurately real tides. So it's a water level logger that you put out to measure tide in real time, and then it has telemetry, so you can see that on a website in real time. And so they have installed a few of these already in Hull and in Woods Hole, a couple other locations. And we've been doing obviously a lot of research on the North River and the local salt marshes. So we thought a great location for one of these would be on the pier at the conservation park at Driftway. So we don't want to go out there and stick it out there without telling anybody about it. So just wanted to kind of show you what this is all about. And you can see on Jen, screen, maybe if you can go back to that previous slide you had there. This is what they look like. And if you have technical questions, Levi's on and he can answer. But the point of them is to be very, very simple and very low cost so that concerns about damage are minimized or, you know, anything. And they are very simple to install on a structure. These are 3 different locations. They have a small solar panel, so they supply their own power, and then they have a small chip that serves as mobile data sending, so that you can get real time. And if you go down a slide, Jen, you'll see this is the website that Woods Hole hosts already. So there would be space on this site for us in Scituate. You can go ahead another slide. This is what a single sites page looks like. So you get all this data in real time. For the Watershed Association, I think maybe for the town, it would be really useful to be able to look at how high tide events are changing over time with sea level rise, and especially how storm events are inundating marshes. So we'd be able to get that tidal elevation height for every event, which is really interesting. The Woods Hole is looking at this as a big picture to look at long-term changes in both the high tides and low tides with sea level rise, especially at specific locations where NOAA is already doing tidal predictions and tide gauges. So you can go ahead there, Jen. This is a lot of words that is kind of technical specs. You probably don't want to read that, but if you have questions, Levi can explain that. And then just the last slide is a couple of pictures of the one that's in Woods Hole, and then a picture of the pier that you're all familiar with at a very high tide recently. So we would propose installing this off the seaward edge of the far out end of the pier there, so that it can capture as much of the tide. It probably doesn't catch some of the low tide because, as you know, the low lows, that's a mud flat there, so we miss a little bit of the water level at the very low tides. But at least for the Watershed Association, we're a little more interested in the high highs. And so that's really it in a nutshell. And just wanted to show you that and see if you have any questions about it.
Okay, thank you. Jen, want to add some comment?
I guess my questions are about, how long is it planning on having it here and, maintaining it?
Yeah, I'll let Levi jump in more, but the answer is, I think, having it there indefinitely, so we can look at long-term tidal changes. And the install, I think we have a system ready to go, and the maintenance is all on our end.
Okay, thank you.
Levi, do you have more on that?
No, Alex, you got that. Yeah, you got that. The like I said, as Alex has said, the systems are incredibly low cost, and a lot of this is just us wanting to get more measurements out there and have them be useful to others. And the systems are also very, very low maintenance. The one in Chatham that's been working for almost 2 years hasn't had to be touched. So they're very low maintenance systems. And like I said, the maintenance would be taken care of by us. If we see it go down, I would go out and just fix it, turn it back on.
Brendan?
No, I don't have any questions. It's fine.
Roger?
Just a real quick question. Why this location compared to other areas of the rivers? Is it the marsh area you want to measure?
Yeah, well, from the perspective of the Watershed Association, we've been doing salt marsh studies for the past couple of years. And this is a really sort of prime location for looking at marsh inundation. Some of the other locations that, you sort of need a structure on the marsh to be able to mount this, right? So, we thought about places like Rote Marine, but Damon's Point and the 3A Bridge both create tidal restrictions. So they're not really great representation of the bigger part of the river and the marsh. So this is one of the sites where we can actually get it way out there in the middle of the river and have it be representative of that whole downstream portion of the rivers.
No, great answer. Thank you. No, nothing further.
Thank you. Robbie?
Thank you. Just a couple general questions. How does the unit actually measure the tide height? Looks like it's out of the water here, so I assume it's some kind of, I don't know, wavelength that's measuring it or something.
Yeah, so it uses a high-pitched ultrasonic sound to measure the distance. It's just sonar, basically, measure the distance from the sensor to the water. And it's 42 kilohertz, so it's well outside of the range of human hearing. It's also very low power, and any of the power that the unit does put out is concentrated into a very narrow beam of sound. So very low impact, and like I said, that's why it's above the water, because it's sort of looking down and measuring the distance from the sensor to the water. And then what we do is we survey the location of the sensor so that we can get those water levels in some sort of survey reference data.
Great. And then is there anything on the unit that describes what the purpose of the unit is, like, tide height recorder or something, just for curious individuals?
Yeah, I think we were. I know all the existing units have at least contact information for Woods Hole, so in case something is happening with it. But we were at the Watershed Association. We were interested in making a little plaque that has QR code so that you can find the website, look at the live data, explain what it's doing, explain who the partners are.
Good idea. No other questions for me. I think it's sounds like a pretty neat project.
Do we have anybody in the audience for this one?
I just have a quick one, Frank.
Sure. Oh, I'm sorry, Eric. Totally.
It's all right. I'm new tonight. I guess I just had one follow-up question on Robbie's question on operation. Does choppiness of water impact the data in any significant way, or is that sort of factored in based off of just expected weather?
Yeah, so no, it doesn't really affect the data. The sensor records it for about 30 seconds, so you can sort of average out any waves or sort of that sort of higher frequency oscillations of the water surface. So you really do get the sort of true water surface. We've had a few of our gauges out next to NOAA tide gauges, and they reproduce the data very nicely.
Very cool. And one other one, just if there's maintenance, repair, or replacement work that needs to be done to the structure in which this is attached, how does that process work in terms of operation, data, and any sort of, I guess what's the protocol in terms of notifying you guys?
I think we would just, like I said, we would have contact information on the sensor. It would basically be a contact us, and we would just come pull it. They're very easy to take in and out. So if it did need to be removed for any reason, for repairs or something like that, yeah, we could just be notified and come and remove the sensor.
Excellent. That's all I have. Sounds good.
Okay. I think I've heard good information. So I don't think we're certainly in favor of that. It'd be interesting to see when it's in place. Appreciate your interest there, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, great. I think, Levi, we have a unit ready to go, so we'll just find a time when we're available, and we'll get it out there and let you know.
That sounds good.
Give us a heads up. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
an amendment, Jen, for 70 Glades?
Yes, they have filed, just wanted to let you know, they've filed to request an amendment to their plans. They have some pile locations are changing. It's a new owner from when the orders were originally issued. So they have some changes. So they have filed a request for amendment. So I mean, my thoughts are it's appropriate to hear as an amendment, not a new notice of intent. And
Okay.
we would hear it at our next meeting.
Okay. And then what else have we got?
We do have the orders for 33 10th
Okay.
to issue.
We need to vote those.
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion to accept the orders and conditions for well, no, we did all the Second Cliff first. We did that. We voted
Correct.
them.
We just didn't do 33 10th Ave.
Okay. So motion to accept the orders and conditions for 33 10th Ave.
I make a motion to accept the orders of the conditions for 33 10th Ave.
It's Brendan. I'll take a second.
I'll second.
From Eric, all in favor. Roger
Yes.
and Robbie.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then the meeting dates for 2026. A couple things might change, but those are the best dates we have at the moment.
Okay. Do we have those already? Did you send them out?
Yes.
And then the certificates of compliance, you're good with Westgate and 16 Bossy?
Yes, I am good with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to let you know. Do you think Mr. McDonough was he is still here if we wanted to hear his comments?
Okay. And then what do we have for 91 and vinyl?
Oh, yes. 91 and Vinyl has an order of conditions. It's a new house or it was a raise rebuild. They would like to put a fence up around, more or less around their property line, which does mean going outside of their limit of work. Their project only clipped the 100-foot buffer, so it's not all buffer. No trees will need to come down. Some Japanese knotweed will need to be cut back in order to install the fence. But just since it's currently being built and it means them working outside their limit of work, I just wanted to give everybody that update.
Okay, thank you. Sure, I think, well, let's ask, we have another hand up.
Oh, they're on. Okay, that is from 70 Glades.
Okay. Do we need, but so that we're asking them to file an amendment, correct?
Correct.
But we can take that if you want to, but it's really just going to explain what that is.
Sure. Emily, or I am unmuting you.
Yeah, hi, this is Horace.
Horace,
Can you hear
okay.
me?
We got you.
Sorry. Can I just ask, I'm so sorry. We were not quite familiar with how this process works. And we were really hoping that, we would have some kind of a resolution tonight, actually, because the project has been delayed for almost 3 years now. And we felt that it's not really due to, we tried the best that we possibly can. And the proposed change is basically to make the entire project slightly smaller than what was approved for the blankets, except that we will lower it to the requirement from FEMA as of June 2025 when we filed the building permit. Basically, when we designed this new house, literally nobody told us that any even slightest change would trigger a brand new hearing for everything. We thought if you go smaller, it's safe instead of going larger. Even the architect was completely surprised by this. So, but we've already requested 2 extensions from the insurance company. So we are really, really, really hoping that we can just start our rebuild since the fire. And again, the actual site plan or the floor plan of the entire property is actually slightly smaller. And the deck is exactly in the same position, except slightly shorter. And we're just lowering it to FEMA instead of whatever they requested previously, which I believe they're trying to go above and beyond the seawall height. Is there any possibility that we can ask the committee tonight to look at it and, approve us to build instead of...
I don't know if Jen explained to you the process that the commission has. We do the orders. There's a lengthy hearing process. We get plans. And then the commission has this hearing, which we participate in, as well as maybe any of others or anyone that's around you, listens and watches the meeting and has some expectation of is planned to be built there. So then when changes are made, if they're fairly insignificant, that Jen can grant that permission. She usually notifies the commission, but it's something that she can just issue those small changes, minor modifications, we call them. But when you make significant changes in there, rather than have to file a whole new hearing, what we do allow for is an amendment. So unfortunately, you still have to notify abutters, and but you don't have to refile everything. You're basically going to submit the changes, and then we're going to have a hearing that's open to the public, and that commission members can review significant changes and make that decision. So it's in one, when the issues are fairly small, the agent can make those, that at her discretion or their discretion, they can make that okay. But when it's more involved, it gets to come back to the commission members for their review.
But we are keeping, literally the difference is less than 2 feet from the previous, and it's 2 feet in the smaller dimension, not bigger. I mean, we have the option of just adopting back the old plan and build the house as already approved. It's just, that unfortunately, when I did my changes to what we wanted as a house, I was not informed that any change in the shape or the size of the house would trigger that, or the size of the floor plan. So, but I do have an option to just go back to the original and build it as approved, build a bigger house and have it as approved. But I thought that, or maybe the correct question is, how would the conservation committee determine a minor or not minor? I mean, this house is slightly smaller and slightly shorter. If that's not considered minor, then perhaps we are going down the wrong path in trying to change the house. Is that the direction?
I'm not familiar with your specific project this evening, and I'm assuming you've had that discussion with Jen. When you say it's slightly shorter, are you saying that the house is not as tall, or that you're going to lower the elevation of the proposed house?
It's the floor plan itself, the size of that it covers, the site coverage is slightly smaller, than compared to the one that's already been approved.
Okay.
So
So the change is in the footprint, is what
correct.
You're saying.
Footprint, that's the word for it.
But the footprint is shrinking.
Correct. That's the word I was looking for. The footprint is shrinking, and then because we did file the entire thing prior to June of 2025, that we would be able to follow the old FEMA code as far as the height to meet that requirement.
And zoning has already approved.
And zoning has already approved. Basically, everybody has approved except conservation. We are signing basically everybody else has already stamped on this since, as we've applied since June. We were just not made aware. Even the architect didn't know that change would have triggered everything else.
Do we have the proposed plans in the office, Jen?
I do have the proposed plans. We got the request a couple weeks ago.
And you can compare the footprint with the Plunkett's footprint. It is slightly smaller. The deck is slightly shorter. away
Why
from
don't
the
I,
ocean.
we're not, unfortunately, we don't have the information. It's 8 o'clock tonight in the evening. So why don't I say this? Why don't I review this with Jen? And we'll take a look and see whether or not that makes a difference.
Thank you.
I'm flying blind here.
I
I'm not
understand.
saying that that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
But if we determine that it can be minor activities, then Jen can make that decision and move forward. How about the orders, Jen? Are they all still active?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I thought they still had a year, if I remember correctly. You had a year, and that is not including the 2-year extension that could also be factored in. So their orders have plenty of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't we take a look at that? And
Thank you.
But again, if we deem that it is significant enough to warrant that, we'll let you know that as well. But we'll
Very
take
fair. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much. That's all I can ask for. Thank you.
you.
Much appreciated.
Have a good night.
Good night.
What else do we have?
Did we vote the meeting dates? Do we need to vote those to accept them for 2026?
We could do that. Take a motion for that. I don't know what
I
they
make a
are.
motion to accept the 2026 meeting dates.
I like it. I like that enthusiasm.
I'll second.
Second from Eric. Roger?
Yes.
And Robbie?
Yes.
And Frank, yes.
And I did have Appleton Field. I did have an update on that. I'm looking for my photos though at the moment.
So if maybe I can just fill some folks in a little bit. The Appleton Field is, up at the Crosby property, and it's a community garden that's been fenced in on our property. They came to us, I think, in the spring for a water catchment system. It's just a roof with a gutter and goes into big tubs, and then they're asking if they can put a small shed on that property as well inside the enclosure for their tools, rakes and things like that. I think in the pink is the enclosure, so the shed would be like the size of one of those little green specks, and it would be inside the pink area. And then maybe they'll have a solar panel, so they can charge their cordless weed whips or whatever. And I guess that's what they'd like to put there.
Yep.
And we've checked. Penny was speaking with Wildlands Trust. They're the Conservation Commission they're the CR holders for that property, and that's an allowable. You can't put large structures or anything on property that's been purchased for land preservation, but we can do that for their farming use. So they're just asking if they can have that shed on the property. If anybody has any thoughts or comments.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea for them to be able to securely store their stuff and protect their equipment. They've made some good strides up there. And I think that it's appreciated that they've submitted what they've submitted in terms of both the plan, the image, that's here, but then also the description of the shed itself. It's 100 square feet. It's pretty modest. So
they've been good stewards there. They're getting a little traction. Had a fun day on Saturday. They collaborated with the Mount Hope Improvement building in the West End, and we had hay rides that went from Mount Hope up into Appleton Field, and folks got off and had an opportunity to walk around the gardens and get some information on possibly having a community plot. And I think they've worked really hard to keep improving that. Hopefully somehow we can come up with a ways that they can irrigate this, so they don't have to rely totally on rainwater. But they're doing I think a great job, and a lot of it's educational, and it serves the food pantry. And I think we're fortunate that these folks want to use these properties in that fashion. We could support them. Is a good idea.
Hey, Jen, your screen's showing your email. This
Oh,
stuff.
good. Great. Awesome. I don't know how to make this stop. Okay. Jeez Louise.
Josh, you can't.
That's me. That's me.
Yeah, but Josh, there's no more remote meetings.
Oh, well, it was fun while it lasted.
All right. That's all I have. It's not even 8 o'clock. So
is it because I wasn't
well,
here?
there was one person who had a hand up.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Leo McDonough.
Yes, good evening, Jen, Commissioner, and Conservation Commission itself. This is regarding my barn, which was built at 22 Salt Meadow Lane, DEP number 068-2954. So I'm getting ready to file for a certificate of compliance, and Jen brought up to me, a situation to my attention regarding the site plan that was submitted. So there's a discrepancy. There's from what I can tell, there's one discrepancy, and the wrong site plan was submitted like 3 years ago. And I did get my order of conditions. So there's one discrepancy showing grading. I don't know if you call them those contour lines and grading. This goes back to when Amy was conservation chair, or excuse me,
agent.
The agent. Thank you, Frank. Conservation agent. So I've got some drawings here. If I can share my screen, because
unfortunately we don't do that.
Oh,
so I
okay.
Think, I think, Leo, what would be better if we had is the opportunity to prepare that with Jen, so that we can really inform the commission members better.
Okay.
So I not to cut you off or whatever. I appreciate you staying through the meeting, and I apologize for the other issue. And again, if you want to send us something on that, and
Bailey's Island. Okay.
Yeah, and hopefully participate at the next hearing. But I think what would be helpful is to put something together that we could actually share with the commission with enough time to have that ready to go, and what this, and then that we can disseminate that information ahead of the meeting so that other folks can be aware of it.
Can weigh in. Okay.
And just also, I'm just looking at the members that are on here tonight. I'm not so sure. Jen Foley's not here. Penny's not here. I think Brendan might have visited your site. I don't think Eric did, and I don't think Roger or Robbie did. That's for sure.
Okay, and that's all well and good. That's fine. Jen had asked me to do a complete refiling.
I had asked for an amendment to your order of conditions to be filed, because what I see at the site is a bit different than what was approved.
Okay. Fair.
And so I was just trying to line you up to not to have us surprised when we get a CFC as built, and the location of the foundation is different, the contours are different. Just, why did things change? There's usually a reason, and then we can work it out.
Okay, wonderful. I'll submit those things. That's all good. Just you mentioned two big differences. The foundation is virtually in the same spot that Amy wanted it in. She told me where to put it. I have drawings attesting to that. Long story short, it is the contours. I'll get all that information to you very soon.
That'd be awesome. And then we can move forward. It'd be great to get this pulled together.
Very good.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Have a good evening.
You as well.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I like that one. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
That was Eric. All in favor, Roger?
Yes.
Rob? Robbie?
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great. Y'all have a good evening.
All right.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
Good night.
Bye.